start with your name and as you explained it.
All right.
Okay, here we go.
Guten Tag, mein Name ist Antii Korhonen und ich habe Deutsch nicht in 20 Jahren gesprochen, so ich glaube, dass es ist ein bisschen leichter für mich, Englisch zu sprechen. So now I will switch to English, and I hope that one day I will be able to come to Germany and speak to you also in German. So my background is in Nokia, in the ICT business. I thought that I was in big business when I was at Nokia because ICT is a 2 trillion euro industry per year. But then after leaving Nokia and going into startup world, I found that actually education as a business domain, education as a industry domain is 3 times bigger than ICT. It's a $6 trillion industry. And more than that, it's a growth industry. The global expenditure on education is growing 7.5% per year. So it's growing as fast as the fastest growing big economy in the world, China. The growth figures are about the same. And then when we go to digital education, so the growth figure every year, year on year, is more than 20%. So it's a huge growth industry. Of course, the reason for the growth is the digital disruption. So if you think about the digital disruption, the companies that are now shaping the world, Airbnb, the world's largest room operator, does not own any of the rooms itself. Alibaba is the world's largest trader and it holds no own inventory. And Facebook does not create any content of its own. But still those are the companies that are shaping the world. So now we must ask, what about in education? Will education stay the same analog fortress than it has been? Or will education also have a more digital, more augmented, putting digital and physical together future? And we believe that yes, this change will also happen in the field of education. So if we look education 10 years from now, so then school is not a place anymore. Of course there will be a place also, but you need to think school as a service. And the service has physical elements, digital elements, and augmented elements. And the winning institutions are the ones that can provide cost-effectively good quality education that combine those elements. The same way you must not think university as a building anymore. Also higher education is a service. We are working with the startups because of the fact that if you listen to those companies that I mentioned a bit earlier, Airbnb, Lyft, Facebook, they are companies that didn't exist 10 or 15 years ago. And now they are the ones that are shaping the world. So now as the digitality is starting more and more in the field of education, so it will be the startups of today that will be shaping the education of tomorrow. Successful startups don't pop up by accident. They pop up from good ecosystem. So when we started our business accelerator, Xedu, for education-focused startups, we started by looking into ecosystem. What are all the needed elements in order to make startups flourish in the education ecosystem? It all starts from the talent of the people. Startup teams are equal the startup team. Then the culture of the country, the culture of the team has a big role to play. For example, do you lose face if you make a mistake or if you fail? Of course, in that kind of an environment, becoming a startup entrepreneur is a bit more difficult. In the very early stages of company formation or idea formation, from getting to idea to first product, their incubators, thinking companies can be a great help. But then when you have the first product ready and you need to get it to the market and scale it up and get funding, that's where business accelerators come in. And in order to have the full picture of the ecosystem, so you need also to have the infrastructure, both physical and ICT infrastructure. You need to have service providers that understand the needs of startups. There are some accounting companies, some legal companies that better understand the startups, so we are working with those. You need to have support from the big companies. Big companies can make it easier for the startups or more difficult. And when you have big companies that understand the startups and make it easier, they also learn at the same time. So the universities have a dual role to play. They validate with research the results and the solutions that the startups are forming, that they are really having an impact. And then also they are a source of fresh graduates, new young people who are eager to change the world. And they are some of the best entrepreneurs. And of course, we need to collaborate with government, with public authorities who have a role in making, taking away the obstacles from the growth of startups. So then on top of that ecosystem, on top of that we have then built our accelerator program, which looks to the startups from the field of pedagogy, from the field of technology, and from the field of business. We are not doing everything ourselves. We are partnering with some of the best in the industry, like Samsung, the device manufacturer, and the largest telecom operator in the Nordics, Telia. So far, in 2.5 years, we have now accelerated approximately 50 companies. We have been able to, or the companies have been able to gain approximately 5% of the venture capital in Europe that is going to edtech investments. The shape of the companies is, and the range of the companies is very broad, as is also the broad shape and range of education. So it starts from early education and goes through K-12 all the way to adult education and retraining of adults. Finland is a great place to have a startup ecosystem in the field of education, because every teacher here has a master's degree. Teachers' profession is wanted, so also the universities can select some of the best from the population to become teachers. Every teacher has a master's degree, so it means that they can also give feedback to the startups, what works and what does not work from the pedagogical point of view in the classroom. Finland is doing exemplary research in the area of education. Finland is having a government drive. Finland ranks at top of many country lists, and with the startup spirit manifested with Slush, Finland can be and has become a testbed and a first reference market for our startups to show that if this solution works in Finland, then it works in many other places. XEdu Acceleration Program, you can consider it to be like an MBA, but it's not an MBA for an individual, but it's an MBA for the company. So it covers the important elements for the growth of the company in order for it to become a successful growth company. We are not focusing to very early stages like incubation stages, but then when you have the first minimum viable product ready, then you need to be able to show that it is right for the market, that the product is fit, the market is right, you can enter the market and you can grow with the market and expand the market. So that's the business acceleration part where we are focusing and helping the companies. You also need to, the startups need to be able to grow faster than the market if they want to be winners. So it means that they need also growth capital in order to fund the growth. And that's the reason why there needs to be a vibrant venture capital and private capital market in Europe also for education technology. Currently, Europe is lacking behind China and US. China and US are investing more than 10 times more to education growth companies than the whole of Europe. We must be changing that also. During our first 2 years of existence, we have now been able to show that the startup ecosystem works. The startup ecosystem is helping the companies to grow. And now the companies that went through our program 2 years ago first of them are starting their A round, so they are collecting A round tickets that are ranging from 1 million to a few millions. So we believe that the future of education will be different. It will be more digital. It will be more agile. There will still be need for the physical interaction. We also believe that it's the startups that will be shaping the future of education. That's the reason why we are contributing to the future of mankind, to the future of our children, and to the retraining of us all, because you know that many of the jobs will be disappearing during the following 20 years. So we are contributing that by working together with the startups who are shaping and changing the future of education. Thank you. I hope to be seeing you and contributing to work with you. I don't believe that we will be taking all of Apple and Microsoft away. I believe that we will be, in some areas, we will need to be collaborating with them, and it may be that they also act as channels for some of the products. But definitely more of the power will shift away from those biggest platforms also to smaller players. So Finland is a strong believer into open innovation and open ecosystems. So that's the reason why it has been also relatively easy to work together with the biggest cities in Finland, the departments of education, both in the city of Helsinki and city of Espoo, to co-create future solutions. So co-creation together with schools is an important part of our acceleration program, and it's an area that has received rave reviews both from the teachers, from the city departments of education, as well as from the startups. And even more importantly, from the children who have been able to co-develop the products together with the startups. So just imagine how a fifth grader boy feels when he gives an idea to a startup that, hey, actually in this educational game, you could be doing this and this. And the following week, when the startup comes again and shows it, so they have taken the boy's idea and it's in the game. This has happened multiple times with multiple companies in our acceleration program now. The way how we have tackled with this is that we have also created the rules of the game together with the cities. So it's not only give by the city. It's a give and take situation where also the teachers and the students and the city will be seeing the benefit also then during and after the program. So that's the way how we have kind of also co-developed the system of working together, just to make sure that it's not only like being a test ground with not gaining anything back. So one very practical example of this can be, for example, that the city that has contributed to the development of the product can, for example, get it license free for a number of months or for a number of years, which then gives benefit for the city as a whole.